Hey guys, back to my top 3 herbs to grow and the easiest to grow. The reason I picked these, they're one of my favorites, yes, or some of my favorites, but they're also really easy to grow. Everything else in the garden I find will die off in some points of the year or will need high maintenance. The other herb I haven't included in this, which is probably just as easy, is oregano. That's something that will just keep going and keep going. It's not going to be as rampant as mint, but it is excellent in a pot, and it kind of just spreads out, and you can get different styles, different types of oregano as well. So I'm going to talk about mint a little bit. This leaf I picked for you this morning, I had no idea it actually is half eaten. But in the plant overall, I mean, some of the footage I'll show you, you can see that it is a little bit eaten by something. But it also has a lot of weeds going on all around it. But it will still break through and do a good job. How can you tell something is mint? It will have like a box, a cube-like stem. I don't know if you can see that properly, but the stem, as it grows bigger, it will actually be like that. So it will have this box-shaped stem. Peppermint on its own is actually really hard to get. Peppermint is a hybrid of spearmint and watermint, and it will grow with quite a different leaf, more of a softer look leaf. This is like a common mint, and it has more of a bubbly mojito mint look to it. So if I put the leaf close, you can kind of see that it's quite bumpy. This is what you're probably going to find the most of. The uses are just as versatile between the two. But one of my favorite things about peppermint is its cooling effects. So we have really hot summers here in Adelaide, and it is really good to help cool the body down. You can use it in all kinds of balms and lotions, like an after sun spray or something like that, if you want to use it to cool the body down. And even it's good for helping sore tummies. My kids just go into the garden and actually just pick it and eat it. They just came to me before and said their tummy is a bit sore. We're having a bit of a slow week at home with wellness not so great. So they just ate a little bit of the mint leaf, just a couple of leaves at a time. You can make it into a tea to help soothe your head. And it's really good in things like juices to soothe a headache if you have drunk too much the night before. Peppermint is also really good for soothing the respiratory system and opening up the airways too. I also love to use peppermint essential oil for these reasons, and it's good for things like getting rid of spiders and mice from your home. You can use it in a cleaning spray to really like boost the properties of clearing out those ants when it comes to summertime. We're in winter now, so our mint is looking pretty good, but not as good as it would look through spring and summer. Sometimes it's the only thing that's green in our garden when it comes to summer, and I'll show you guys some footage of that too. Next, I want to talk about rosemary. Rosemary is one of my favorite herbs because it is really easy to grow, but it will grow massively. The one I'm going to show you has a massive stem. It's been in our garden since we moved here. It's probably maybe 20 years old, and we also have 3 new plants next to it that you probably can't tell that they're new because they've taken so well. They're in well-drained soil there. They're kind of on a bit of a slope, so they do get runoff, but able to drain. They're not suffering from any kind of wet feet, and it's a part of the garden that we let the roots go nice and deep. It doesn't get constant water from us, even if it's their new plants, and that helps them establish their root system to be deeper into the garden. If they are always relying on water, they will end up having a shallow root system and keep needing that water. Whereas what we want the plants to do is grow further down, find its own water systems to tap into, and end up being established plants in the garden. One of my favorite things about rosemary is that it's really good for head tension. You can put it in a tea, but do be aware that if you're pregnant, I wouldn't be using rosemary because it does have a circulatory stimulant effect. And also, if you are on any kind of blood thinning medication, I wouldn't be using it either. And of course, with all herb use, go to see a herbalist, a naturopath, and be properly put on herbal supplements if you need that real boost of herbs. But just something simple to grow in the garden and simple living, natural living by growing your own, preparing your own herbs. There's so many simple ways to do that just by following DIY videos and reading up yourself on what herbs can do for the body from a low dosage and safe way of using them. The other thing I want to mention is that they're really good for stews. And of course, we know rosemary to go with something like roast lamb. It's very good with meats and things like that because it has those antioxidant properties. And it originally, like thyme, was helped to preserve the meat because of the chemical constitutes within the plants. Thyme, rosemary can actually help keep things nice and, well, not probably these days, not as good as a refrigeration system, but can help keep the bad bacteria off of it and just cover it in some nice protective properties from the plant itself. The last herb I want to talk to you about is calendula. I love calendula because I love orange and yellow flowers. I don't know why, I'm just obsessed with them. Okay, but this is a beauty when it comes to all kinds of skin conditions, including acne, dermatitis, things like eczema, a really big one. And probably the best way I think to use it would be to take the flowers off and let them settle in an oil, which you can find through certain recipes. If you type in calendula infused oil, you can make your own, letting it seep in that oil for a long time, or taking it and letting it seep in the way that you'd make a herbal tea. And you can use that liquid then to put into things like balms and your own concoctions to rub onto the skin, of course using simple ingredients like beeswax or shea butter, coconut oil, and something that's going to be soothing to the skin, not adding it to a perfumed synthetic fragrance type thing from the supermarket, because then of course you're kind of defeating the purpose to soothe the skin if you're using products like that. Putting the flowers in a bath, also using them in a tea, using them in salads, using them as a garnish because they do look so beautiful. You can lift anything, any kind of dish with them, rice dishes. It kind of stains a little bit like saffron as well. So these are my top 3 herbs, the easiest to grow, and for reasons now you have so many reasons to grow them in your garden. Look after them, love them, and they will love you back. And use them wisely, use them safely, and always consult your healthcare professional if you start using herbs in abundance. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for being here. Bye.